Good afternoon, and welcome to our continuing coverage from the St. Paul Ice Fishing Show. And joining us now is Captain Pat Kalmerton.
Hello.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
How's the show been going for you so far? I think we're over halfway through it now.
We are over halfway through it. My feet are kind of telling me that we are at least halfway, which is a good thing. It's been busy. It's been crazy. There's a lot of buzz going on. People that are seeing some of the equipment that they want, they're buying it because they don't know if it's going to be there in 10 minutes when they go and search something else. So once you find it, they're buying it. People are excited. They're fishing in the north of us, so they're already buying stuff to be on the ice and have a good time. So
yeah, pretty much everybody I've talked to has said the same thing. Like yesterday, the crowds were certainly lighter than what we're used to.
Yeah.
But what I was hearing is the people that were here were buying things, and the cash registers were turning, even though the aisles weren't as full as what we're used to.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different products that were, blowing off the shelves. There's people walking up and down the aisles. Everybody that walks past, they all have, gear in their hands, which it's definitely a buying show right now, which is really good. A lot of people have the buzz. And after last year being gone, Friday kind of scared me a little bit. Yeah, people were buying, but the crowds were a little bit down. I was worried that the lingering effect of that nastiness of last year, why we all couldn't be together, would have carried over. But today certainly did not reflect on what people are doing there.
Yes, it definitely felt like kind of a normal, usual day at the St. Paul Ice Show today. And the Minnesota Wild are going to tip off here in about 3 hours. So we kind of expect in the next 2 or 3 hours, people kind of funneling in and coming checking it out before they get ready for the game.
Absolutely. Usually that kind of brings a lot of conversations, but a lot of people don't want to buy big ticket items to go sit in the game with.
Yeah, they can't go watch the Wild with an auger in their hand or a nice shelter.
Well, they could. They might be frowned upon.
It's a prop. It's a sign.
Yeah.
So we wanted to have you on, and we've had you on a couple of years ago. We talked ice fishing in Milwaukee Harbor.
Yep.
You guys are based on Lake Michigan. Your company is based on Lake Michigan. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, man. So we're out of Sheboygan, Wisconsin. We have a couple of charter boats. We have 3 charter boats to be exact out of the port of Sheboygan. It's an entertainment business, man. We're loving it. We're catching fish. We're having a good time. People are back to normal. Our corporate trips are coming back. The smiles and not everybody was freaking out, and life was good. Fish were biting. Our summer fishing up on the bay was really good for walleyes this year. We crushed it in the rivers, fly fishing in the fall, and just all the way through. It was a good year. We had a lot of lake trout up out of Sheboygan this year. A lot of lake trout. So that the salmon numbers were a little bit down, but their lake trout certainly made up for it. So it was still entertaining.
Ice season is upon us. That's why we're all here. And we talked Milwaukee Harbor last time we were here 2 years ago. Is that kind of still the place where you guys set up your base of operations for ice season?
We do. Majority of our fishing is out of the Milwaukee Harbor. We also do a lot of the tributaries to Lake Michigan up out of Sheboygan, Port Washington, Manitowoc. It all depends on safe ice. First and foremost, we have to have safe ice. If those tributaries have a good solid base on it and we can hit those rivers and avoid the crowds a little bit, that's certainly what we would like to do. But like we were saying 2 years ago in Milwaukee Harbor, you got those skyscrapers behind you, the traffic noise, the sound of the city, but yet you're fishing, and it's kind of a special atmosphere. It really is.
And just let's talk a little bit more. I know we talked about 2 years ago, but a lot of new people come to the show, and a lot of them don't go back and listen to all the episodes. Mm-hmm. What are you targeting there, and how are you doing it?
Majority of our fish that we're catching out of the ice at that time of year is brown trout. We can also get some steelhead, and they usually have that real dark colors and big hooks, and you're looking at a half-hour fight. Those fish, they're so finicky that a lot of it is done, with either auto fishermen, or some people use the jaw jackers, or but you can still catch them on tip-ups. You can still catch them jigging. You can do it however you want, but rod and reel combo, catching that fish, having a good time. It's just they take off, and light tackle, big runs, 20-pound fish. It's a blast.
And you talked about it just a little while ago, kind of being you're in there with the crowds. What is that atmosphere like being out there?
It's something special because you're on vacation, but you're not on vacation. You're listening to the hustle and bustle of the world around you, and everybody's on their way to work, and you got the sounds of the seagulls, and if it's a windy day, you got the sounds of the lake crashing against the break walls, and it's almost like you can't even explain it because you have three different identities. You have the sound of of the Lake Michigan, which we always like to call Olson when she's mean. She's big enough that she can get mean enough. So you got that sound, you got the traffic and the horns and the sirens and all that stuff. So that's a reminder of the daily life and hustle and bustle and the routine that we are now putting in to be able to support for our families. But then on the other hand, you got screaming drags and seagulls screeching, and it's just never been. You got to be. Grab yourself a cup of coffee, watch the sun come up, and just enjoy life.
You said you're using a lot of the auto fisherman jaw jacker type of stuff. What are you putting on the business end? What kind of gear are we using to catch these fish?
Mm-hmm. You can go anywhere from skein, you can use shrimp, you can use beads, you can use minnows. There's a lot of different things. You can dye them different colors. You can use different tuna attractants and flavoring. So there is a little bit of a science behind it. It's amazing. It always amazes me because when we get down there early in the morning, you got to get down there to get your spot so you're not stepping on somebody else's toes, and you want to respect that area and give them their space. But really, out of Milwaukee, it's just a great big bowl. There is no structure to it. You have an inlet coming down through the bridge. You got so there's a channel going through. There's a little bit of trickling water from culverts and stuff. So if you have a runoff or if it's a warm day or something like that, but really, it all comes down to scent. It all comes down to the way that you present it. So you can use that, the cured skein from the brown trout or whatnot that we catch all spring long, or, we'll strip the eggs out of there and release the fish, and then we'll go back and we'll cure it, and we'll either put some garlic in there, some shrimp in there, and then what we'll do is we'll loosen it up and tie it up, and we'll use those skein balls or live shiners sometimes work better, or little pieces of shrimp work better. It's a natural habit, or these fish, no matter if you're here or on the West Coast or wherever you're at that have salmon, their feeding nature is going to be the same, so just like trolling on Lake Michigan, you take it and you grind up shrimp or herring and you put it in there, and people are like, oh, you're freshwater, you're in the middle of Midwest, there ain't no shrimp there. Salmon don't know that. They don't know that. I probably shouldn't eat a lot of things because I'm from the Midwest, but I like food, so I'm going to eat.
Yeah, Pat Kalmerton, you're not going to find sushi in your native land. But,
I tell you what, I will tear up all the sushi I can find.
I don't think sushi's native to Milwaukee.
I don't care. I'm eating it. I love sushi.
So what kind of depths are you fishing? You said it's a bowl out there in the harbor. What kind of water?
8, 10, 12 feet. It's deep enough for the boats to come in all summer, and the skags on the bottom of the sailboats, and we're right, majority of our fishing is right down off of the Summerfest grounds. So the big amphitheater and everything else is in the background. It's not deep. We're not fishing 80 feet of water or anything, depending on where you're at in the bowl. Can get down in front of the culverts, and I would say majority of it is 20 foot or less.
Okay. What kind of ice? And I know the season is short down there. What kind of ice are we typically walking out onto?
Every year it's making our season shorter. It used to be a couple months. We'd get 2.5, 3 months. Now we're looking at 6, 7 weeks on normal. So when we do have safe ice, people book, and you better book fast. But between that, you're probably looking at anywhere 7 inches. We don't like to go on the ice unless it's at least 4, just with our clientele. Make sure it's safe, make sure that we're down there, make sure that we properly did our due diligence, make sure that safety becomes the number one priority, because you can always go to the store to catch a fish. Right. I mean, we're going to make sure that you're safe and all that other stuff before we do that. But you're talking, we like, 4 inches.
Okay. Hey, you talked a little bit about ice fishing the rivers as well, more in your neck of the woods. Tell us a little bit about that.
River fishing can be incredible. You got your ice that comes through, and a lot of times people will take and they'll fish those outside bends on the river where it's a little deeper and that water is cutting a little bit more. There's also little pockets. What people don't, I guess, a lot of times that river is always going to be moving. Okay, so there we're doing a lot of spinning glows. We're taking like a drop shot rig, rigging it up with a 3-way with a spinning glow and the beads and the skein and the minnows and all that stuff. So what we're doing there is we're doing a 3-way rig, dropping our weight down, having our spawn sack so it's not way up in the water column, because that current is going to wash everything way up top. So we're going to do that. And then a lot of times, because we fly fish and because we river fish so much that we know where a lot of the good rocks and all that other stuff, people overlook the fact that you can catch a pretty good fish in really shallow water right behind a good rock. It's a lot like smallie fishing. People pass rocks all the time and they're like, oh, I got to have the deepest hole. Not the case. Anytime that water is moving around and you got that back yeti and that circulation of everything pushing on the backside of those rocks, those fish can just sit there and open their mouths and eat sushi all day, as you say.
And it's interesting that you say that, because we've had a lot of different really, really great anglers on the show here this weekend. And I think I've heard that about 4 times this weekend.
The big rocks?
Of people catching fish in really shallow water.
Oh, yeah.
In 2-3 feet of water under a foot of ice.
Yeah, no, any kind of fishing that you're doing, shallow water is probably one of my favorite. But here's what a lot of people do wrong is, I was guilty of it for a very long time. And I had to go out in North Dakota to learn this, is I would drill a hole, I would fish that hole, and I would be discouraged because I wouldn't catch any fish. Even I do that in 15 feet of water. So now what I do is I drill a hole, I walk away, I drill all my holes, and if I'm planning on jigging, I'll go back and I'll pretty much creep in. I'll leave my wheeler on those rivers. We don't have wheelers. If I'm pulling sleds of all of our equipment, I'll leave that a good 500 yards away because of that ice and that noise and that shallow in the water. And I'm pretty much cat-like reflexes. I'm tiptoeing in. A lot of people look at me and I'm a bowling ball, man. I can roll right on in there. I'm telling you what, I lay down and just roll in there. But I come in extremely stealth-like, or at least as stealth as I can. And I come in there and, it's probably 45 minutes after I drill. Because when think about it. You got a foot of ice and you're sitting there and you got, these fish, you got a 9-inch blade coming through that ice, shaving and making all that noise and that vibration and everything else. I'm scooting. I'm out of there. It's like kicking a big buck out of its bedding. It takes a long time for them to come back. So as long as I know my holes, if I know I'm going to fish somewhere and I'm not worried about the competition, I'll go drill the day before. And not knowing that my holes won't freeze up, and then I'll go out there the next day and do it. It's funny that it's a lot like. So I learned from a guy that does a lot of like stream fishing on really little streams down in Southwest Wisconsin and stuff down by me. It's one of his favorites because it's almost like a spot and stalk, where if they see you, they're gone. If they see your shadow, they're gone. So you're like fishing upriver and you're making sure where the sun is. I guess I never really even thought of it that perspective. I was like, oh man, what are you doing? But the way that he, I guess, explained on how you catch that 12-inch trout out of this little stream, it made me start thinking a lot differently of how I guided on different bodies of water or different shallow areas or anything like that, where even if I go to North Dakota and I'm up there, I'll go up, I'll drill holes, and I'll leave for an hour before I come back because those fish are going to disperse it. It takes a little bit to have them come back.
Yeah, it's interesting. You start playing with underwater cameras and you get that shoot up thing. You drop that camera down 10 feet in clear water. If there's not a lot of snow on the ice, you can really see what's going on up above.
Well, and not only that, but, a lot of people, they're looking for the most aggressive ice spikes that they can find. Their cleats. Well, if you're using extremely aggressive cleats on glare ice, what kind of noise do you think that's throwing? Every time that you're walking or you're running or you're doing anything, walking to your hole, man, it's just going crazy. And these fish they got to scoot. I would scoot. I'd get out of there.
Yeah, your predator is there. We talked about brown trout in Milwaukee Harbor. What are you fishing for here on these rivers?
Same thing, brown trout. We're fishing some steelhead. The leftover coho salmon once in a while. And those are, if you get a good coho that time of year, they got that real dark pink stripe coming, or that red stripe coming down, the big old gnarly hook jaw, and they're gnarly looking. They come out like, man, I'm telling you, they're just, I don't want to say ugly because they're gorgeous, but they're just mean. Just mean.
If somebody wants to book a trip to go do this because it sounds awesome, How do they do it? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can go to wolfpackadventures.com. You can go to Wolfpack Adventures Facebook pages and Twitter pages. You can also call the fishing line. It's 920-207-1212 or 920-207-1212. So
the other thing that you really wanted to talk about, I like to ask guests when I get a chance to ask them what they want to talk about. You want to talk about taking kids fishing?
I do. Not even taking kids fishing. I want to talk about taking us kids outdoors. Everything it goes anywhere from picking a Christmas tree to, going for hikes. But fishing is a mainstay of my family. It's a very big passion of mine. And, I got children. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time that I have now with my older two kids. So I missed that opportunity to really spend a lot of time in the outdoors with my two oldest, which I feel as if I cheated them, because now I got I got three younger kids and they are freaks when we get outdoors. It is awesome.
And just tell me a little bit about some of those things that you talked about, going out and picking up a Christmas tree. But what are these adventures like? What are you guys doing? And how does it change when you're going with them compared to if it was just you?
I won't go alone anymore. There's not a chance that I'm just going to go out fishing or hunting or anything else by myself. So my kids have, we go all the way back. Finley's 7 now. When she was 4 years old, she was going up to Dave Genn's Invitational, and she's standing in line with a Ziploc bag with her crappie in, and you got the best of the best standing around her waiting to weigh their fishing at the Dave Genn's Invitational. And it was very special to me because my father was there, who I learned from, and my daughter, who I'm trying to teach as my father did once, teach me. And it went as far as I wanted to share my adventures with my kids. I wanted to promote the kids outdoors. I wanted to get more kids involved in doing a lot of things. So I started a Facebook page. It's called Get Them Kids Outdoors. And Get Them Kids Outdoors, I have probably 1,200 to 1,300 followers within a month that they're all on there sharing their stories. They're sharing their neighbors' stories, which was really cool. The other day, there was a story of a father who had a paraplegic son who he rigged up something to shoot a deer, and they harvested the deer, and that smile on that kid's face is the biggest smile that I've ever seen in my life. And it wasn't him that shared it. They didn't even know it. Somebody saw it on Facebook and they shared it to that page of this total stranger that they had no idea because of the smile on that kid's face. And you go back all the way through and you look at it and you ask me how the adventures are with my kids. Well, I got a couple of videos on there that is going to make you crack up. I seriously, I'm sitting at a base of the tree. Oh, man, this looks good. I'm whispering into the camera, and I'm talking to my daughter off to the right, and she's like, yeah, it's looking good. And go off to the daughter on, oh yeah, this is looking good. And I pan over to a little bit more to my left, and here's my son Josh beating the heck out of a tree and rustling leaves and shaking trees, and that's how it is. We're the entertainment aspect and what they do to make it fun rejuvenated the sport of fishing and hunting for myself. And somebody asked me the other day, are you guiding every day? I'm not guiding every day because, the guys and the gals that work with us and everything else, and they become family, and they've earned that right to run that operation, to be that front runner in that adventure. And I don't get me wrong, I love time on the ice with my clients, but being out there with my kids, with my neighbors' kids, and throughout the entire thing, I want to get involved where we've set up different programs all over the place where, let's say we take a trip out to North Dakota or Lake of the Woods, and we find lodges that will offer, for parents to pay, but kids are free because it's only one bed that they're giving up anyway. So, I got a couple of like brew pub pizzas, like, hey, we'll give you a stove, we'll give you a bunch of pizzas, we'll supply you guys with anything that you need out on the ice. Just go have fun. So I think it's really cool. I want to see a kid, there's women in the outdoors is a huge thing. It's awesome. I love the strides that they have been doing. There's different clothing that is fitting women better. There's, that's up and coming, but we have to get a reason. And the thing that really excites me, to be honest with you, Chris, is it almost makes a person feel guilty as a parent when you don't have anything to post with your kids out there, but you want to post it. So you find a way to get those kids outdoors so you can post something. I'm guilty of it. I've done it. Honestly.
So if there's people out there that are, like you said, they're looking for reasons and ways to get out there, what's your best advice to people who maybe have young children and for the first time are trying to get them introduced to the outdoors?
Get on there. Get them kids outdoors, get on the women pages, get on any chat forum that there is. Social media it's a giant right now. And if you cannot find a resource to be able to get them kids or get them women or to be introduced to the outdoors, call me personally and we'll find a way to get you fishing or hunting or hiking or whatever the case, whatever you want to do.
I had Scotty Brewer on a little bit earlier today, and he's like, the thing that excites me, I'm looking around this room, and I've been in either the hunting or the fishing industry for now the last 15 years. And one of the things that we've talked about a lot was, there's a lot of old people in the room, and we've got this aging group of people who do the outdoors. And Scotty's like, what's exciting me is I'm looking around, I'm seeing a lot of 20-year-olds and a lot of kids too, but he's like a lot of young adults. And he's like, that's super exciting for me to see that growth. And I think it's something that with COVID and what we had last year, people were kind of forced to do it if they wanted to do anything. Where do you see that group kind of going forward?
I love it. I think that group is going to educate us who have been in the industry for a long time. I think that these 20-year-olds with their tech savviness and looking at YouTube and doing things, I shut my mouth and listen when a 20-year-old starts talking about a new product, or if they start talking about this thing that they've seen or how somebody was doing something somewhere, because they are learning at a capacity that I never dreamed of at that age. They have the resources and the technology to take 20 years of our hard work and learn it in a week. And if that is capable of them to do so, I'm all ears. I want to hear all about it, and I want them part of my team as far as moving forward to get more people involved. And like you said, COVID, when that came down and everybody was forced to do something because they could do nothing, there's something that they could do. Nobody can ever take the outdoors away from you. Nobody can ever take that outside where there is no danger to you. There's something that, and as they're doing it, they learned that it was recharging their own batteries. It was giving them that peace of mind. And when they're even at that age, when they're sitting on a bucket and the fish aren't biting, and they're looking at graphs or they're looking at cameras or they're doing this or that, you learn so much, and they figured it out that, hey, this is kind of cool. It's actually more fun than playing video games at home because I'm actually interacting. I'm doing something I won that battle. I made that fish bite.
Yep. And what you've been talking about, you've alluded to a few different times, is those people are really good at getting that message out too. And social media has helped build that as well. So when that guy's out there doing that, or that girl's out there doing that, they're documenting that and putting it out, and almost in a way, kind of like you said, where you see these other pictures and you want to go take a picture. And that's spreading it even more because they see these people doing this and they want to do it. And this generation that we're talking about is very good at getting that message out, and they have the tools to do it.
I can't keep up. I mean, there's YouTube, there's TikTok. I mean, what's the deal with TikTok?
I can't do this.
I don't understand it. They turn it on. They do a little shimmy and shake.
I
and
think you can do a shimmy.
I do a shimmy, but I don't understand TikTok. I mean, they got their arms going and dancing and
we
and
had some
singing.
20-year-olds just looking at us like we're ridiculous.
I mean, okay, Twitter, okay, Snapchat. What's the deal with Snapchat too? I mean, how do you take a picture and then it deletes? So what's the point of doing it? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Hey, well, this is the way that they communicate. So if you're planning on giving me your techniques on Snapchat, do me a favor and like text it to me so I can keep that idea instead of the Snapchat thing.
Right.
Unless you can save a stat. I don't know how that works. But anywho, yeah, they all the different platforms. I'm glad that they all know how to use it. I don't know how to do it. I get yelled at by my sponsor for not knowing how to use them, but I'm learning. I got a bunch of different accounts, and I gotta go into every one of them separately and post stuff. And it only takes me a half hour to post a 3-word sentence, but hey,
You're getting there.
I'm getting there. By golly, I got it going.
Us old guys aren't so bad.
No, well, but that's why we have kids.
That's right.
That way they can teach us, or just do it when they get older.
Keep us young.
Yeah, I like it. I'll take them fishing. They can figure out my social media.
Let's do a selfie, and then I'm going to let you get back to doing what you do. But I really appreciate you coming on. It's always fun to talk to you, and it's super fun to talk to you when I get you see you face to face. Awesome, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Pat Kalmerton from Wolfpack Adventures.
Oh.
We're going to be bringing in Adam Rinas now from SnoBear. Go ahead, Pat. Talk to you later, buddy.
All right. Peace out.
Adam, come on over.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to be talking some SnoBear now.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. How's the show going for you guys so far?
Yesterday was slow, I would say, but today it has drastically picked up. I am very impressed with the amount of people that are very interested in it and willing to spend money here. It's probably been my best year so far coming to the show.
Yeah, and that's something that I was just talking with Pat with is the crowds seem lighter, but the people that are here are very focused on getting what they want.
Exactly. I had a guy, he come this morning, he said, I specifically came to see you. I want to place an order. Let's set it up. And I gave him the deals, and he says, let's do a deposit and make it happen. So great. That's why we're here.
Yeah, as a dealer, that's got to be exciting when you have somebody they come to see you, they know exactly what they want, and then you guys can do that.
It's like you're doing your part right. You instantly text your wife, I got another sale. Right. She's heard it 100 times, she can care less, but it's the excitement still.
So tell us about SnoBears. I know we talked to you a couple years ago, but we've got a new audience, we've got new people coming on. Obviously, just about everybody's walked through the show has seen video or seen what they look like, but kind of give us a nickel tour of what a SnoBear is all about.
So in 2000, about roughly 2000, a guy by the name of Tom Lycan was up north, and he lived in Fargo, North Dakota. And he was up in Canada catching giant perch, and it was cold, and I would guess he was in his upper 50s to 60s. He wanted to go up there and in a machine that he could wave to all the Canadians and drive by them in warmth. So he went back to his garage, and he started designing the very first SnoBear in his garage. And it took him, I'm not positive, my dates might be a little bit mixed up, but it took him a couple years, 3 years maybe, to get it done. And I think he took his wife's car engine out of her car, and if I'm not mistaken, and put it in his SnoBear. And then they got it going, and then in 2005, they started production on it. And that's when you fished on the outside of the tracks. The tracks were inside. It's still raised and lowered. You drive it to your destination, lower it down, and fish out of it. It had 6 holes in it and 4 chairs. And then in 2009 is when they started basically the same body they have now, where it's wide tracks. That went to a 1-liter fuel-injected engine. Then they got a little bit more advanced. That was about 40 horsepower. And you had 4 chairs as well then. The concept kind of really started taking off then for him and for the design of it. So then they went through a few different engines, and you fast forward to today's now, and we're at new motor, transmission differential, 75 horsepower. fuel injected, of course. Very, very impressive to drive. They just come off the line last year at the end of the season, and I own an electrical business too. So my guys all show up at work at 7, and I was out there ahead of them and had this new SnoBear going, and everybody had to take it for a drive. I wanted everybody to take it for a drive today because I wanted to put as many hours as we could on it for that day until the snow melted for testing and R&D. But it was a lot quieter, the machine, than any of the other ones, and the power is unbelievable. You feel like a little kid sitting behind a snowmobile again for the first time, and you're like, wow. And we were going through drainage ditches and stuff. We ended up putting 20 miles on it that day, and we really didn't have any problems at all. Very, very, very fun. And that's what really the drive is right now, is everybody's excited over it. They're all upgrading to this new one with the engine. And of course, you can't get parts to build new ones, and the factory's sold out. But next, what I'm doing is I'm doing deposits for brand new ones, 2,000 down, and get it on the list. And then we can get it for you next summer, and we pick out your options and set it up how you want to. As far as ice fishing, it is just unbelievable to fish out of them. They really spoil you. You fish in your jeans and a t-shirt or a shirt, and you don't care what the weather is. You go out and you go fishing and you enjoy the day. There's getting to be more and more guides that have them now. If anybody wants to book a guide trip, feel free to contact me. I'll send you the right direction. We cater, I would say, a vast majority of the guides that are out there, and they usually do about $700 a day, up to 3 guys you can bring with you. So it'd be 4 in your SnoBear, and you go fish for 8 hours. That's getting very, very popular. Different lakes around through the Dakotas, Minnesota is pretty much where all the guides are. Lots of Devil's Lake, South Dakota. There's some in Minnesota here. There's the guys in my booth. They're from Red Lake, so they guide Upper Red, 2 SnoBears. They work together. And there's a couple in Lake of the Woods as well.
And you got the thing set up. I mean, honestly, once you pull it off the trailer, you never even need to get out of it.
You don't. We usually start them on the way there, so they warm up inside. You literally, exactly like you say, you walk out of your pickup, you walk into your SnoBear, you back it off, and you go out fishing. We set them up with the Garmin live scopes, of course, and then we come out of the live scopes and we mirror the TVs on the wall, so you see exactly what's going on anywhere in the SnoBear. You see what's going on, and that's where we really start tricking them out. When now we're putting microwaves in them, grills on the back, satellite TVs. We're doing upgraded chairs, more lighting. We can just go on the list. Doing fancy floors, and they're getting really, really nice. We just completed a really nice one for a guy by the name of Cesar Larson, south of Mankato. I would put it up against any bear ever done. We left it in our shop all summer, and he just said, let's make this thing incredibly nice. So we just kept adding. We put a SnoBear logo we put a cupboard on it with a microwave inside of it. And we did a lighted SnoBear logo on that. Lighted cup holders. We got lighted floor. We got upper lights below the cabinets. We got inside cabinet lights. So you open the cabinet, they automatically turn on. Upgraded fans. We did lights underneath the SnoBear and in the grill. So in the morning when you're going across the ice, everything's lit up. Part of the electrician helps out a little bit on that, but a lot of fun. We fully enjoy it. I think it's 5 full-time guys now just working on SnoBears year-round. So they're just turning wrenches. They know the machines inside and out. We got a hoist that lifts them up. You put your SnoBear on it. You can drop the tracks, everything you see underneath of it. You can change the bearings, the bogey wheels, the bushings, and do a really thorough job on the service. It makes a huge difference at the quality you can do. And it's nice when you got guys working on them day in, day out. They know exactly what to look for. They know exactly how to fix it. And it's not a lot of monkeying around, scratching your head. So, yeah, things are going good as far as that goes.
So you guys, you're the dealer. You're not the manufacturer.
Correct.
But you're kind of the place to go. You're the go-to place to
We sell a vast majority of what they build. We're fully have the passion for it. And it's not just me. It's my employees and my dad as well. So we're literally, when you can't sleep at night, we're thinking, what can we do to that SnoBear next to make it better? How can this bearing fail? How can we make that better? So we send emails back and forth to the factory constantly on what we can do. And we just fully enjoy the product. It is, until you can fish out of one, and I encourage everyone, if you don't have to go buy it, you can even just go with a guy that rents them out or you could go with a guide in a SnoBear. Until you fish one, experience just how neat of a product is, and the ability to fish in jeans and a t-shirt, never get cold, and move anywhere you want throughout the entire day, no matter what the weather is like, and catch fish and stay on top of them. You're just so much more effective at being able to catch fish and stay on top of them. It's very hard to explain until you experience it. The very first time I was ever around one, I had a buddy, he come, and we were on Bitter Lake. It was cold, like 30 below, and we're trying to stand outside, and the wind was blowing your line, and you couldn't even feel him bite. He comes along with his SnoBear, and he kept staying right on top of the school, moving 30 feet every 5 minutes. He had a 5-gallon bucket full of walleyes, and we had one perch, and we were just blown away. So then one thing led to another, and here we are today.
That's an awesome story. We were showing the video there real quick for those of you watching of what that bear looked like, the one that you guys really tricked out, and it had the leather seats, and it was like an office chair looking type of thing. That's something you guys do too. I mean, you guys do the full customization.
That's something we really specialize in. That's something that sets us apart from a lot of the other dealers, and that's the reason that customers are coming and waiting for us, getting on a waiting list and waiting for us to build their bear, because they know that we're going to take care of them well. We're going to set the bear up exactly how they want. And if they ever have problems with it, I try to specialize in answering my phone all the time. My wife just loves this. But I deal with them problems too, and nothing irritates a guy more than when you buy something and you can't get a hold of somebody for tech support. So I strategically try to do that, and they're not that big a complex machine. Most time, if there is a problem, we can fix it over the phone, or I know exactly what it is, or I'll get in touch with somebody that does if I don't know, and we'll get it taken care of. I really, really encourage somebody to look into the SnoBear and look at doing a guided trip with someone or renting. When there's a few places that rent them out. Matt Hobson does in Winnipeg, and there's a kid at JB Reynolds in Waubay, South Dakota. He rents them out as well. There's another one. There's Cozy Cubs in Devil's Lake. I think he rents them. But they're a cool product.
But one of the things that you and I talked about yesterday, and we were just hanging out in your booth, is a trailer is important, because you need to get this to whatever location you're going.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
It's a good question. So you want a trailer that's going to be a little bit extra wider than your standard trailer, because the bearing's got to slide through it for the trailer. So an enclosed trailer, we sell them, we have them on, and we have all the trailers open or enclosed on hand. But the enclosed, we have them built specifically for it, so that you get a door in the back right corner so you can access your SnoBear. You have tie downs where you need it, you have lights where you need it, and then it's the same for the open trailers. I went right to the manufacturer. I went in there, we sat down, we designed, I want a step here, so you put on your windshield cover, which protects your windshield going down the road. I want to be able to sit on a step here, stand on a step to put this on. I want tie downs here, so it's easy for the customer to tie down. I want to do ski stops in the front of this trailer, so you pull in to hit your stops, you tie down the front, off you go. I want to make it as simple as I can. I don't want to have problems with the trailer, with the loading and unloading. I want to try to prevent the best I can prevent all of that. And it's been working pretty well. We got new and used trailers on hand all the time.
All right. When you see them in video or in photos, they kind of look heavy, but they're not. Tell us a little bit about that.
And that's a great question. There's a few different motor options you can get. So if you get one with it's actually a Briggs & Stratton Vanguard engine, you're at exactly 3610. But it displaces the weight with your tracks and your skis all the way across the ice. It's hard to get that engine at the moment with everything going on. They're backlogged so far. And the new engine, the 75 horse, is a Hyundai car engine. I think we're increasing the weight about 400 or 500 pounds. And plus your transmission and differential are a little bit bigger as well. They're very impressive though. And everybody thinks they float, and they don't float on top of the water like a bobber. They're going to sink. They're going to go down. They're not going to sink to the bottom. They're buoyant. So the top little bit of the SnoBear is going to stick out of the water, the back corner. But there's an escape hatch on the roof where it hopefully never happened. But if it was to happen, there's measures that they're trying to help to get out of them and get safely. But most of the time that I've seen where there's been a problem, they don't just dump into the water. The ice kind of breaks away. Since they spread it out on the tracks and skis, it displaces the ice, and they kind of hang on there on the ledge basically, and the people get out. they're usually totaled. If they go into the water past the engine, they're pretty much totaled out. Can they be resurrected? Yeah. My guys are going to run one themselves. These are my employees. But now it doesn't idle, so it's going to be ongoing issues. But they can keep learning up from them.
So what are we looking at for ice? What kind of ice do you need before you feel comfortable driving?
The factory likes to see 10 inches. That's what they recommend. I know some guides push the limits. The problem with ice is, do you have 10 inches here? Do you have it over there? I don't know. You don't know. You really don't know. I wait for 10 inches, and then sometimes I'll maybe wait another week or two, which usually doesn't take long. You get a good foot, then you're pretty comfortable. I like the 10 inches mark. It's more than enough to hold you securely then, as long as you have safe ice everywhere that you know of for the most part.
All right. You get a chance to, I would guess most of the people that buy these are going out for the first time. What is the reaction like for people that are picking these up and going out on the water?
That is funny. So through the Dakotas, there's a lot of SnoBears, and they still turn your heads all the time. You buy a SnoBear, it's amazing the amount of friends you all of a sudden acquire that you didn't know you have. But you go to north, like my grandma lives in Bemidji. We went out on Lake Bemidji, and I dropped her off at the Holiday Inn where we were staying. The people were running to the windows to see what is going on. What is this thing? When you get farther away from the Dakotas, they don't see them as often, and they're very intrigued. It's an intriguing machine, just the concept and how it works, and people really wonder. It's a cool product, and it's very intriguing on what it is and what it's going on.
Where is your place located? And if someone wanted to come and check it out, what's your typical inventory look like?
So on a typical year, we have anywhere between 10 to 15 SnoBears on hand in a normal year. New, used, we have 2-3 new ones on hand, and used with trailers. This year, of course, you're sold down. We got a waiting list for both at the moment, and it should improve here as things get better. We're located in Sisseton, South Dakota, so we're an hour south of Fargo and 45 minutes north of Watertown, right in the corner. From Travers Lake, we're like 10 minutes from Travers Lake. I'm out actually on my dad's farm. He's got a family farm there. We built onto the shop an addition for SnoBears. We have a rack in there and 4 bays just for SnoBears. We got some storage sheds and stuff where we just put parts. You get the best thing you can look at my Facebook page, or you can email me. Most people just call my cell phone, line up a day, make sure I'm going to be there. Most of the time I am, but just to make sure come out, take a look. I'll talk SnoBears all day long. I'll sit down with you. I'll show you what it is. We got the nice tricked out ones. You can look at them. You can pick out what you want for options. We build you a build sheet, and we get the process started. And if you want to use one, we work with you. I try to find the right bear for the right customer. They're looking for a really good, clean used one, or if they want to try to save some money and find an older one and work on it a little bit. I try to be selective and get everybody into the right bear and be happy with their product. It's been working good.
You talk about tricking them out, and I know that you get some new accessories. What are some of the accessory options that, someone comes out and says, I want to buy one? What are we looking at when you talk about that build sheet and the different accessories? What kind of options are out there?
So we do a lot of electric grills on the back of the SnoBears. And I don't know what it is, but there's something about eating a warm meal on the ice that it just makes it taste that much better. So my favorite thing to do is cook cheeseburgers on the ice. We do that a lot of times on our own. So I probably kind of push that. It's an electric grill, so you don't have a flame from a propane pilot burning out, and you think it's cooking, and it's not. So you have a generator in the front of your SnoBear. You start it. You simply push on your grill, throw your burgers on. And 20 minutes, you flip them, or 10 minutes probably, and 20 minutes, you're done. We do a lot of that. We do a lot of cooler racks. Cooler racks to the right side of the door. So when you own your SnoBear and you have your buddies coming with, they all have all this stuff they want to bring in, and you don't want them to really bring it. So leave their stuff in the cooler outside. It'll stay just fine. We do a lot of that. We do a lot of the generator racks. I push all that stuff. We do a lot of the Garmin live scopes. A huge majority of them are the Garmin live scopes. We do a lot of the 1243 units. Then you can mirror it to the TV. So we set up 1 to 2 TVs depending. We do some satellite TVs. Probably 10 a year. We do satellite TVs. We had one last year that we had customers, and we had fixed it, and he had satellite TV, and he said, why don't you run it for the weekend and make sure everything's working properly? So my brother took it out, Comes back, he's like, holy cow, that's like sitting in your living room with a TV. But it is. It really spoils you. You're watching the news while you're out fishing, and it kind of brings you the sense of home there. We're doing cupboards with the microwaves in them off to the right-hand side. We do granite countertops, which is nice. Then you kind of spot to put your elbow, lay your tackle out. I may think what else we do. We do under cabinet lighting. We do floor lighting. We do upgraded floors. We do bench heat, so it blows heat on the floor to keep your feet warm while you're fishing. Oh, I don't know. We got in-cabinet lights inside, the lights underneath the SnoBear, in the grills. We're just continually coming up with more and more stuff. And it's not just me. It's my guys and everybody else that I work with on it.
A lot of things that you named, those use electricity. So you have the generator mounted in the front?
So it's all 12 volt. We wire everything 12 volt, and you have two batteries. You'll have a starting battery and an auxiliary battery. So then what we're doing a lot of times is we're putting a lithium battery into the auxiliary battery. And if you do 100 amp hour, that should almost get you 2 days of runtime for all your electronics, including the Garmin. Then we basically will put a charger in. So if you want to run your generator, that would charge your batteries without having to start your engine. So every time you start your engine, it's going to charge your batteries. But it's also going to, that hour meter's turning, and it's just more than you need. So then you just run a little generator, a little trickle charger, charges it up. You sit there. SnoBears have a propane furnace in them. So it's a propane fan force furnace. It blows heat up, and that's what you really use for your comfort while you're fishing.
So you're saying with that 100 amp lithium, you've got basically 2 days. You don't even need to use your generator.
You wouldn't need to, exactly right, unless you wanted a microwave or something else. I kind of like it because it's a peace of mind in the back of your mind. It's of security that I have this. It's keeping everything charged, and it works very well. We plug them right into the gas tanks, so if they don't want to carry gas and stuff, we hook it. We got a connection kit that we built and plumbs them in, but. We got the new generators have electric start. You push a button and they sit there and run on their own, and they shut them back off when you're done. You got to get out that way.
That's awesome. Well, I sat in your booth for about a half hour yesterday, and the most common question I hear, and it's the question everybody has, is how much does it cost to get a SnoBear?
So a brand new SnoBear right now with the big engine, the 73.5. I encourage everybody to get the bench heat. That's just another source of heat, blows it at your feet. It's $1,500. You're at $75,000 for the SnoBear. You're gonna get some sales tax. We're talking to some electronics most likely, and you're gonna need a trailer. You're knocking, and you gotta pay sales tax on it. You're knocking at $90,000 when you're on for a brand new one, brand new trailer, decked out, ready to go for the most part. You can jump to the XP. That's all leather inside. That adds another $15,000 in it, and that's with today's price. So next year we don't really know how much the increase is going to be. Hopefully stuff backs back down. Maybe they'll be cheaper. But I doubt it.
Probably not. but that actually leads me to my next question. I asked you that question for a reason, and that's who's buying these things? Who are your customers?
It's kind of funny because a lot of people think it's outfitters and stuff like that are buying. I mean, it's really not. It's a big majority of them is farmers. Maybe a third of them are farmers. Maybe a third of them are small business owners that have some time. The other third is just guys that like to fish, that have some money, saved it up. And, instead of going out and buying that fish house and that Ranger with tracks and getting close to the price anyway, they're spending a little bit more money, and they hold their value so well. You're not really losing money on it. You're kind of simply taking that money, putting it towards this machine, this toy that you're using, and you're getting your money back out of it when you're done.
All right, that's what I wanted you to say, because I know you and I had talked about that, and, a lot of people think it's this, but you had told me before, it was like, a lot of farmers that buy these things because they can't go fishing in the summertime.
Yeah.
And this is when they do their recreation.
Exactly right. Yeah.
All right. So the next most popular question is how fast do they go?
So typically a SnoBear will run 21 miles an hour. The new ones are at about 25. After 25, you hit a different set of rules with EPA. So you pretty much are at that threshold. How fast you can get to 25 though, that's where the new engine comes in. Is it necessary? No, not at all. You simply feel like a little kid driving that snowmobile for the first time. It's incredible the amount of power and the torque behind it.
That's got to feel cool. It's got to feel like you're driving like a Jeep or something.
Absolutely does.
Adam, is there something that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get into yet today?
I don't think so. Thanks for having me. I really enjoy these shows and coming on here. And no.
If you want to find out more about what Adam's got going on in his company, you can go to the website right there, glaciallakessnowbear.com. Adam, really appreciate you coming on. Before you get up and leave, though, we're doing the selfies this year. We got to do a selfie. making everybody do it. Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
buddy.
you. See ya.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, the show continues. We got new and exciting coming on, Mr. Mike Olson from Fish Addictions. How are you, man? Good to see you. Just living the dream, buddy.
Always, every
Sitting
day.
here in the old catch cover booth talking ice fishing. What have you been up to this weekend?
Oh, this weekend, man, just checking out the show. You know, as coming here and helping out with the people that support us. Our fun part is going around and talking to people and checking out all the new products ourselves.
What are you seeing out there? What's getting you excited?
Oh man, you know, Eskimo's done a really good job. They got the 2400 out this year with the bench seat. A lot of people have been asking for that with storage. You know, you got the live sonar technology out there that is amazing. But what really gets me is what all these guys are doing with baits this year. There's a glow plastics, just different jigging baits, different jigs out there, and it always kind of gets us nerdy guys excited about trying different things like that.
So when you say that baits, what are you looking for? What's something that you came to the show and you're like, I want to check this out because it's something I want to try this year?
You know, with Fish Addictions, we fish every species of fish, right? So there isn't something specific to it, but I'm really starting to go the artificial route a lot more. So I'm really looking at those baits where I don't have to rebait all the time. And don't get me wrong, I still use live bait and waxes and that kind of stuff, but it's always kind of a personal challenge for me to go artificial as much as I can. So those jigging baits, the plastics, that really intrigues me.
Now, last year you guys did a show a lot with a fish house.
Yeah.
You guys were out with the Big Bite. What do you got going on this year as far as that?
You know, we change things up every single year. So the traveling with the fish house was a lot of fun and almost too comfortable, to be honest with you. But that was an absolute awesome house. But we're changing it up again this year. We've added a SnoBear to the arsenal. We've added a pickup camper. So we're going to be traveling around in a pickup camper this year. And it's going to be, you know, we always try to find something new and fun to do. And we're going to be in close quarters, but we're going to have a lot of fun doing it like we always do every year.
The pickup camper.
Yeah, I can't believe that we're doing it, but we're doing it. So
you're talking about like the camper that goes right into the box
yes,
of the truck.
Yep. We have got one mounted in the truck, ready to go. We haven't really started filming yet. We've done a lot of ice checking out our way, so not really a lot of filming. But I suspect next week I'm going to be a little busy, but after that we're going to be rolling.
Do they still make those things? Is it a new one?
Yeah, it's brand new. Actually, Glacier made it for us. So Glacier started making campers, and I'm excited to get out there and do it. It's got forced air furnace in it. We're not going to be, don't feel sorry for us. We're not going to be like living in the cold tent, but it's going to be fun. We'll probably do some ice camping out on the ice this year. I mean, just, new and exciting. That's all we want to do. We want to keep it interesting for ourselves and the people that watch. So
Glacier makes that. So does that mean you got to drill some holes in your truck bed so you can fish through it?
No, thank you.
But no, that's super interesting, and it takes me back to one of my favorite memories as an outdoorsman. My buddy and I think we were like in our early 20s. We did this duck hunting trip along the Mississippi River, and he had this old pickup truck with just a regular truck box on.
Yeah.
And the two of us slept in that thing every night. I'm not a small guy, and he's not a small guy either. It was pretty tight. I mean, there was a little bit, probably a little more touch than you'd want. But the thing that we always talk about whenever we talk about that is getting up in the morning and cooking on the camp stove behind the truck. And we had shot a couple mallards the day before, and all we had left the last day was beans. And we had beans and mallard for breakfast.
Nothing wrong with that.
We still talk about beans and mallard for breakfast.
And those are the things that we're trying to create as memories for ourselves, for the viewers, and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, we try to do something new and different every year that maybe somebody else hasn't done. And last year we pulled the Big Bite everywhere. This year it's going to be pickup camper, and it allows us to kind of bring all our stuff that we need to go from place to place to place. Last year we kind of had to go back to home base after every trip, and we're not really used to doing that. So now we can load up the trailer and we can go to Peck, to Cascade, to Devils, and all in one shot because we've got it all with us. So it's kind of the theory behind what we're doing this year.
And you got the SnoBear.
We got the SnoBear.
You're going to be pulling that with you everywhere you go to?
Not everywhere. No. I got the SnoBear because I'm getting older.
Yeah.
And, you got to be comfortable sometimes. And there's no more comfort than in a SnoBear, especially on a lake like Devil's Lake, which I fish a lot, where you're constantly moving to stay on those fish. and it makes it easier to take the family out and just enjoy a day, no matter what the weather is. So,
And just so you know, I had no idea that's what you were doing. So it's funny that Adam was here and then you come here and you're talking about the same thing. So
I was smiling at him because he kind of knew, and I was like, oh, that works out.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. So that was just from happenstance.
Yeah.
So you just brought up the Devil's Lake thing, and that's something that we're working on this year. We're doing kind of some destination stuff. So as long as you brought that up, I went into this interview completely unprepared. I'm like, we'll just let Mike go, and wherever he takes us, that's where we're going to go. So let's talk a little Devil's Lake.
Absolutely.
If that's a place that's near and dear to your heart.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that. I know everybody thinks of it. When they think of it, they think Perch Patrol and that whole deal. But just kind of go through Devil's Lake with us as far as what it means to you and kind of when you started fishing there and how it's changed.
Yeah, I've been fishing Devil's Lake for as long as I can remember. I've seen the changes go up and now it's on a downward cycle. And the Devil's Lake, what I love the most about Devil's Lake is it's a challenge day in and day out, year after year. It changes. You can't go out to Devil's Lake, catch a bunch of fish, and expect that same place to produce next year. Why? Because it's a fluctuating lake. We're down 4 to 6 feet from where most people were last year, so go out there, you change it up, and it's a challenge, and most anglers, we like challenges, and it's nice to have a gimme once in a while, and trust me, if you put enough time in, the bounty is there. As far as fish, like this fall, we caught a lot of big perch, a lot of big walleyes. I'm expecting the fishing on Devil's Lake to be pretty fantastic this year, and if I had to gear people on a direction, I would say go east. That's where I concentrate a lot of my fishing, and it's a big giant lake, and there's a lot of perch, a lot of walleyes. The white bass are really starting to come through in the ice fishing times. People are starting to figure out where they are and what they're doing. I expect it to be really good. And I was just out checking ice in the basins just before we came to this show. There's still some open water on the big lake, but all the other surrounding lakes are locked up with 4 inches of ice, and it's going to be fast. It's going to be go time here pretty soon.
And so when you're out there in Devil's Lake, and again, the perch is kind of the thing that everybody thinks about. But, I've talked to a lot of people, and they're like, you got to come to Devil's Lake for walleyes now. The perch was 10 years ago. Now it's walleyes. Your thoughts on that?
So why Devil's Lake is special? Because you have a great walleye bite in the morning. You have the perch are active during the day, and you go back to the walleyes at night. And there isn't a lot of lakes that give you an all-day action pack. So if I was going out as a novice fisherman out to Devil's Lake, I would target perch a.m. till about 10 a.m. I'd walleyes till about 10. I'd go from 10 to about 4 on perch, and then go switch back to your walleye hole at evening. And your best walleye fish is definitely morning and evening.
And are they in the same places? What about that?
It's fairly close. So we're looking at like old shorelines and that kind of stuff for perch, which you can find walleyes, but I usually transition up a little shallower to some kind of structure for walleyes. And I say that, and the whole lake is structure of Devil's Lake, right? There's trees everywhere, that kind of stuff. But you find a pot of walleyes in the morning. If you go back that evening, you'll probably have a pretty good shot at them again.
Very cool. What are you using? What's kind of your favorite stuff out there?
Oh man, for perch, I'm a spoon guy through and through. So I use the smaller spoons for perch, tipped with a minnow, or waxies work really well for those perch. For walleyes, I'm a spoon guy with tipped with a minnow head, but if I can get them on artificials, that's where I go first. I like aggressive fish. Aggressive fish eat artificial baits, and when you get an aggressive fish, it doesn't get any more fun than that.
Yeah, aggressive fish are easy to catch.
Yeah.
We just got to figure out where they are all the time.
If we could just figure that piece of the puzzle out.
And you said shallow. When you say shallow, that means a lot of different things. What does it mean to you?
So I'm going to break it down on how the Devil's Lake in general. So when I'm fishing Devil's Lake, I fish shallow first. A lot of people think perch deep, but I have a good buddy who guides out there, and he classifies it as this: 5 to 20 feet, you're going to catch those perch every single time. 20 to 30, you're going to have to coax them a little bit. 30 to 40, you're going to really have to work for them. So why not try, like you said, the aggressive fish first? So I always go 5 to 10 feet for walleyes and perch to start, and then I'll work my way out. And there's old shorelines. If you've got, with today's maps and everything that we are offered at the electronic world, you should be able to figure it out pretty quick. And so my advice, start shallow, go deep. And the deeper you go, the harder it's going to be to catch those fish, but they're still catchable.
Are you looking for like pinch points? Are you looking for where
Inside turns, you know, a lot of times on points, on top of the points, and then off the edge of the points. And a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I think wind has just as much to do in the winter than summer. A lot of people roll their eyes at me because, like, how does wind have anything to do with ice over the top of it? I find on windy days that wind-driven points are still the best spot. A lot of people roll their eyes at me, but I've been fishing a lot of hours and put a lot of time into that, and I find that just like when you fish those points and stuff, just like you would open water.
Right? I think that there's something going on in the atmosphere, and they know in the summer when that thing happens in the atmosphere, this is where their food is.
It has to be something like that.
They just go back there again.
I was told that many years ago, and I laughed at it myself, and I started implementing that in my own angling, and it's really has paid off.
Now, you guys, you talked about you kind of travel all over the place, and you know, if you're going to go out to some secret hideaway, I don't want to hear about it, but what are kind of the big lakes that you guys planning on fishing this year?
So we'll definitely hit the staples, Devils and Lake of the Woods, but we want to make Peck and maybe Cascade and venture into Canada this year since we can do that again as of right now. But Peck is probably the biggest thing on the list. We want to go out there and really see what we can do for lake trout, walleyes, and pike, because it's got giants of all that, and if you're going to be out there and you're going to take the time, you might as well sit there and see what we can do. So,
and that's a tough deal because Fort Peck, the ice is always changing and getting it timed out. And I know last year it was like an extremely short season.
yes.
How do you put that type of schedule together to do what you guys do with putting this show together?
So everybody laughs at me, but I do not put a schedule together for where we go. We go where we're able to go. We have places we want to go, and we keep very close tabs on it. And when it's ready, if it's ready, you know, like a Lake Erie, we haven't been able to get out there. The last time they had ice, they fished for like less than a week and it was gone, you know. So we never got a chance to get out there. But places like Erie and Peck and that kind of stuff, Fort Peck, you might only get a 3-4 week season max, you know. So you just got to kind of stay on top of it. If you want to go to those places, I'm assuming there'll be a window, and we just gotta pay attention and talk to the bait shops and that kind of stuff. And as much technology as we have, the bait shops are still your best information.
It's there.
Yeah.
How do you do that though? Because you know, it's not like it's just Mike Olson.
Right.
You've got a team, and all of you guys got to make a living and everything too. How do you manage that? When the thing happens and you got to go, how do you guys all manage that?
I pretty much say, guys, I'd like to do this, and I think it's getting close. And then I don't work in the winter. This is what I do full time in the winter. So we have a pretty close-knit group, and it'd be like, hey, I just got a call. I'm leaving Tuesday. If you can come, let's go. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's kind of how it goes. If guys can make it work, great. If they can't, we just go. We'll make it work, you know. So I don't expect those guys to just drop everything and come, but on a trip like Peck, most of them will.
You might have to bring an extra truck.
So we were actually on our way out to Fort Peck last year when the ice started breaking up and things got a little more dangerous than we wanted to. So we turned around and we did the pike episode on Lake of the Woods. But it was a great audible because we ended up with like 35 fish over 37 inches for pike. So it was pretty epic for 2 days of pike fishing.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that, because I think when people think Lake of the Woods, everybody thinks we're going to go up there and catch walleye, and the saugers are there. But I've talked to Joe Henry before, and obviously pike is a big deal up there too. But everybody thinks walleye. Targeting pike on Lake of the Woods, how do you do it? When do you do it?
So when things start melting and the water starts running just a little bit, it triggers those pike to come up shallow, kind of almost stage for their spawning before they take that spawn. Well, pike spawn really early, so there's still really good safe ice normally for pike fishing. So you want to get in those areas where the pike are just kind of big flat weed beds where these pike are just staging, ready to go up and make that run to spawn. And I usually fish them with like big Cisco's on tip ups and that kind of stuff. And what I love about pike fishing is you can get 10 guys together and throw out 20 tip-ups and just have a really good time on the ice, you know, cook, grill, BS, flag goes up, everybody's running, everybody's having a good time, get there as fast as you can, pushing you guys over. I mean, but, you know, it's a nice change of pace from what we're doing all year long, where it's just go, move, drill holes, move, you know, and when you set up tip-ups, it's more of a, let's get together, BS, have a good time, have some camaraderie, and that's what we're all about. So,
and late ice, it's usually pretty nice.
Oh yeah, usually you can be outside with the chairs, and everybody's just dressed up, and you don't have to be in a house and hot. And be stuck in a house all day long. It's a good time to bring the kids out because they can wear off a bunch of energy. Flag goes up. There's a lot of excitement for a couple minutes, back at it, and then next flag goes up, so and pike fishing is pretty consistent, so you never really do have a lot of downtime when they're really going.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You said a bunch of fish, over that 37 mark. What was the biggest one?
I think it was 42.5 inches was the biggest, but we had 7 over 40 in those 2 days. So that's a world-class pike no matter where you're at. And that's what Lake of the Woods is capable of, and it's getting more popular every single year. And that's rightfully so, because there's some giants up there.
And things are really kind of looking up there. I know to get up to the angle, it was difficult, and now we can get back over the border. You talked about going to Canada. What's it mean to you to be able to get back over the border and get up there to do some fishing?
Man, you don't know what you were missing until you missed it, So not being able to go up last year and fish what is the premier ice fishing waters in the world, you felt it last year a little bit. So we're excited to get up there and just get back into that premier fishing. Obviously everybody knows of Lake Winnipeg, but you get up to Wekusko Falls and Reed Lake and Lake Athapath and that kind of areas where lake trout has really caught on over the last 3-4 years, where guys are really starting to target them. And you get up there and you're catching 40+ inch lake trout, 30 pounders. I mean, there's no other place that you could get into them like that, and it's just, the other thing is you're most of the time, you're the only guys on the lake that you see in a whole day. We're not used to that around here. You get somewhere and you see a few other guys, which is fine and great. We're happy to see everybody out there enjoying it. But when what you see is wolves crossing the lake instead of people crossing the lake, that's pretty cool.
And you get up there and, you can do it in the United States too, but you get up there and you really get out of the light pollution. Yes. And you really get in the places where you can see northern lights and things like that.
Yeah, my wife wants to go up there just to see the northern lights, because I've sent her videos and that kind of stuff, and we can see them from here, but they're nothing like when you're way up there in Canada.
Yeah, very, very cool. What do you think? I mean, I talked about my beans and mallard story. Give me one of your favorite stories from going out and doing stuff.
Oh man, there are so many. Clean ones or not?
Well, let's at least sort of clean.
So last year we did a perch episode in the Big Bite, and we had no intentions of fishing this lake. We had filmed on it the year before, and we were like, it'd be fun. Let's just back the Big Bite onto the lake. There was no accesses. We ended up finding a spot we could get it on, backed it out on the lake, and we only slept there. But we were like, I wonder if these perch bite at night. And we ended up getting 2 that were like just ginormous fish. Taylor got one of the guys that travels with us, and I got one that were like 15+ inches, and they're just slobs. And it was like so unexpected. We were all in our jammies waiting to go to bed, and all of a sudden we had the snare rods out and they were going, and it was like, what is going on? And we never thought the perch would bite at night. And that was a really fun memory from last year. And it really created a lot of hype about what we were doing. And like I said, we weren't planning on fishing it for filming it. We were just there because we knew they were there and thought, well, maybe they'll bite at night. So that was kind of a fun experience.
So the world of doing what you do, which is going out and videotaping fishing and capturing this stuff, and the distribution end of it has changed immensely over the last 4 or 5 years, and it's changed a lot for you guys.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that and how that's evolved and where you're at now.
Yeah, so we did the Fox Sports North thing and the TV thing and all that kind of stuff, but we just felt like things were changing and we wanted to get ahead of it. So we did drop Fox Sports North last year. It was a great platform. Bally Sports now is a great platform, nothing against it, just didn't fit our style. We have a lot of fun and we have a lot of things we want to put out, and we just felt like maybe that wasn't the right way for us. So now with all these online platforms, whether it be Waypoint TV or YouTube even, it just gives us the freedom to do what we want, how much we want. If we want a 5-minute episode or if we want a 30-minute episode, we can do whatever we want. And there's a lot of times where a 5-minute episode, we can get everything we did in the trip in it. Hopefully we caught more fish than that, but we're also the type of guys that are going to show you if we struggled too, and I think that's important. And for us, it felt right. And I think the whole industry is going to go that way sooner than later. We're an ever-changing world, and we want to get it in front of it, and it paid off big for us last year, actually. So
Yeah, you see guys like you see guys like Jay Siemens and those kind of guys putting stuff out on YouTube that is very much TV quality, in some cases cinema quality.
Yeah.
What it's done is it's taken the guys who are just kind of doing stuff out of their garage, and it's made them even better because they're watching what you guys are doing.
We support each other, like Jay and all those guys, no matter if it's James Holst to me, to Larry Smith, to whoever. But the cool thing about what we do is a lot of people think we're against each other, but what they don't understand is we're communicating with each other all the time. We're all friends. We're all helping each other. And doing that, we're all pushing each other. We're pushing each other to be better. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the point of it, is everybody getting better, because in the end, we want the consumer to love it, right? So if we push the envelope, they're pushing us right back, so.
There's a lot of people that are just kind of getting started, though, just kind of doing things.
Yep.
What's your advice to those people that want to be a Mike Olson, want to be a James Holst, want to be those kind of guys?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is stay true to yourself. From day one, I had a vision of what Fish Addiction was going to be, and we've stayed true to that from day one. And just find an avenue that you like, stay true to it, and work hard at it. It's not going to come easy. This stuff is not easy. We didn't just one day just appear out of nowhere. It was a lot of hours of filming, a lot of hours of editing to get to where it's at now. So, you don't need $10,000 cameras. We're blessed to have that, but we didn't start with that. And you just need to have a vision, a goal, and stick to it, and you'll get it. You'll get it.
And I think a lot of it for people, and what I give advice is, when you first start doing this, you're not going to be very good at it.
No.
And I think people watch your show and they watch Jay Siemens and they want to be that, and then they go out and shoot it and they try to put something together and it's nothing like that, and then they just give up.
Well, the reality of it is people don't want another Mike Olson. They don't want another Jay Siemens. They want another you, whatever you're going to be. So don't try to be us. Try to be you. And that's the best piece of advice that anybody can get. You try to be somebody else, that's already out there. Just do you. I got a buddy right now that wants to do it, and he's very technical, and I was like, that's what you need to do. You need to be technical with what you do. That's you. You're comfortable in your own shoes, and you'll do better that way.
You guys do the travel stuff, you do the fishing stuff, but you've also you've got a studio show. And you guys kind of sit down and just talk about what's on your mind.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're doing here with the podcast thing. But you guys just, the three of you a lot of times sit down and just kind of it's chewing the fat in front of everybody. And what's been the reaction to that?
It's been very positive. It was something that we did just to kind of get stuff off our chest, and doing what we do. We interact with a lot of people. We see a lot of things. We get asked our opinions a lot. So it's a place for us to be able to get opinionated outside of the show and just kind of let people know how we're feeling. And it's kind of fun to do that too. Obviously, that doing this, and you and I have talked about that kind of stuff before, but just to be able to have that atmosphere where it's no holds barred. This is how I feel. This is what I'm doing. And like it or not, thanks for watching.
And it's got to be fun because it's honestly, it's pretty basic. It's a camera and you guys are just talking, and I'm sure, there's not a lot of edits there. It's just bang, here's the show.
In fact, there's probably no edits there, right? We're just talking. If you like it, great. If you don't, fine. We're just chewing and seeing what comes up, and it's been a lot of fun. And I don't know how many episodes we've done now, but we kind of do that in between shoots. We talk about shoots a little bit so people can know what's kind of coming up. And it's a good way for us to kind of let people into the backside of everything that's going on too. So we get that questions a lot, like, you guys are together so much. Do you guys ever fight? Do you guys ever this? Do you ever have that? Yeah, we're brothers basically out there on the ice. So of course that stuff happens. So it's a fun time where we can chew about that and hash all those things out as well.
So who's kind of the pin cushion? Who's the one who gets the most crap out there?
Thor takes it all.
Who gives it?
Jim,
all right.
Jim's the biggest giver.
Very, very cool.
I'm dad out there.
You're the dad.
I got to keep it all in line.
You got to separate them at all?
No, they're good buddies. It's all in good fun, and we all know it. So nobody's feelings get hurt.
All right, who's the best angler?
Oh, geez. I mean, it just depends. Josh is the most technical guy out there. We're also well-rounded over 9 years of doing this that I don't want to really say best angler. I would say Josh is the most technical angler, but if you have to go species-wise, I think there's guys that are really strong in different points.
We've had Josh on a few different times. He's awesome.
Yep, super technical
And he
guy.
is the detail guy.
Yep,
He's
yep,
definitely
for
the detail guy. Mike, is there something that I didn't ask you about that you wanted to talk about today?
You know, guys, just go out, have fun on the ice. That's what it's all about. That's why we're here. Get people new on the ice, get young guys out, get people that don't know about ice fishing into the sport. That's our goal. That's everybody's goal that does what I do. So check us out on all our social media. You search Fish Addictions TV, it'll come up. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Thor even started a TikTok for us not too long ago. So we're even on TikTok nowadays.
I can't wait to see your TikToks. Well, before you go, we're making everybody do the selfie. So we're doing a selfie before you go. And we've got one more guest coming on today, guys. Awesome.
Perfect. Thank
Mike,
you.
I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Have a good one.
Good that you gave me some of your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
It's a busy thing for everybody. But I appreciate you coming over. At least you got to sit down for a little bit.
Yeah, that's the plus for sure, because people don't realize we're on our feet from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and there's cement floors here. So
Yep. You got a good rest. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Come on over, Andrew. One more guest for today. Last guest of the day is Andrew or Andy. I see sometimes you call yourself Andy and sometimes it's Andrew.
Choe or Andrew Choe. It really doesn't matter. I just respond to both.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Pull yourself up a little bit closer to the
Sorry.
microphone, so that way we can hear your velvety pipes.
Well, it doesn't take much. That thing travels a long ways.
How's the show been going for you?
It's been slow and steady. We had some periods where it picked up pretty good, but now it's tailed off because the wild game is going to start pretty soon.
Yeah, they're gonna drop the puck over there. We had quite a few wild jerseys in here over the last hour.
Yeah, a lot of I guess they call them fans or random people coming to say hi, so that's kind of interesting and humbling.
Well, it was
super
actually funny because Mike was here and I'm like, it's gotten busy with the Wild fans, and I didn't even think about it. He's like, well, yeah, it's busy. They talk, but those guys aren't buying anything because they can't walk out of here with an auger and go watch the hockey game.
Unless they go back to their car, right?
I'm like, that's a really good point. I didn't think about that.
That's about it.
But it does put people in the building.
Yep.
But you said, people coming up and saying hi. You've got a really cool thing going with Knoc Outdoors. Tell me about that.
All right, Knoc Outdoors. Well, I kind of had an idea of creating something, a team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just Danny, Vu, Maoli, and myself, Andy Choe, and just go out and have fun and fish, right, as a group of guys. We do our own individual stuff from time to time, but the reason why we set up the team is it's just, camaraderie, like-minded individuals going out and having fun. Just leaving all our worries behind us and just popping a hole, trying to find fish, catch fish, eat fish if you want to keep any. But the whole premise of the group in general was Knoc Outdoors, so like knock down doors. There's a lot of weird things, barriers and stuff that we're just trying to educate and say, hey, look, man, we're just a group of guys. We follow the rules. We do all the things that normal people do. So that's just more education, and over time, hopefully that continues to build on.
Getting out, doing some ice fishing, having fun, showing off what you guys are doing.
That's right.
Where do you guys typically fish? Kind of where do I see you guys doing your thing?
We try to go north of the cities where, like early ice, you'll start reading all the reports online, and we try to follow that, right? So if it's Upper Red, we'll go to Upper Red. If it's the Troy Lakes, we'll try to hit that up. If it's the Mille Lacs area, we'll try to hit that up. Really, there's no home base for us. We try to stay within 4 hours of the cities, because sometimes we'll do a one-day trip, like hardcore stuff. Wake up super early, head north, fish some grounds, jump to 1 to 3 lakes in that same period if we can't get any fish the first lake, and then head back home. It's very tiring, right? But we have done that kind of stuff.
So you guys are hole hoppers, you're stick and movers.
I'd say we're moving and grooving quite a bit. Moving and grooving, yeah.
How many holes do you think you drill in a day?
In a day, we will go through probably 6 8-amp-hour batteries, so probably 300.
Wow, you guys.
we will try to find fish. It's not like we'll sit in one spot and the fish will come to us. No, it doesn't quite work like that. You got to find them.
What makes you tick? What's the thing that you guys are kind of going after and chasing most?
You're talking in terms of species? Yeah, I'd say it seems like panfish is what we primarily kind of go for. I occasionally like to go for big toothy critters like pike. That's when I want a good adrenaline rush.
Mhm.
But a good crappie bite is always fun. I mean, finding where they are and then just whacking them. That's what it's at. That's where it's at.
So that's super interesting to me, and everybody that we bring up here, it's a lot of the same answers. When we go ice fishing, you got to figure probably 80% of the folks out ice fishing are panfish.
Sure.
And in open water, once we're adults, it seems like it's uncool to do pan fishing. But in ice fishing, it's no holds barred, baby. It's we're gonna go pan fishing. Why do you think that it's acceptable as adults to go ice fishing for panfish, but not in open water? It's almost like you can't do that and put that on social media.
That's a fascinating point you make. I don't know the answer. It just seems like when you're going ice fishing, it's almost you want to have a meal sometimes, or take a meal home, have some fish tacos, or fish fries. That could be part of the reason why, maybe. But during the summer months, you're trying to go for big bass. Sometimes you're going for muskie, right? Whatever your main target is. But it's never, I'm going to go today and go catch me some crappies and bluegills. It really doesn't. You're right. I don't quite know the answer. That's fascinating.
It is for me.
It's super fascinating.
It is for me because I just love pan fishing. It's been my thing my whole life.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with it, but it's just like, you can't put that on Instagram in July that you're out catching bluegills.
No, but I mean, there are people out there in the social media world that do just go for panfish, and that's what makes them tick. And I think it depends on where you fish, right? What part of the state that you live in. That if the part of the state you live in is all panfish, then that's where you're going to go for. But let's say you're in the metro area, you kind of go for bass. The pan fishing around here isn't like what you'd find up north, right? In Minnesota. So that's probably an element too.
Yeah. You get into that size structure, you go up to a place like Otter Tail County, you're going to get into those big ones that you just don't see around here anymore.
Correct.
But one of the things that I wanted to have you do on, you and I were talking earlier today at the show, you're a Lake Minnetonka guy. That's something I wanted to talk to you about. And first sat down and kind of gave you an opportunity to introduce yourself and what you're about, and what you like. But let's talk some Lake Minnetonka. Metro Lake, it's a busy lake. What's it like to ice fish up there?
I considered it just any given day, it seems like it's a zoo. When the peak of ice fishing, you go out there. I mean, don't quote me, but if you were to drive around that lake or walk around, it's almost over 120 miles. I think I read somewhere. So it's a pretty big metro lake, and that body of lake has multiple little bays that add on fingers out from the main bays. So there is a lot of unique fishing on that body of water. So what is it like? It's chaos. I mean, it's like a zoo. You'll see hundreds of cars out in small little bays once it locks up and it's safe. Crowds of fish houses in every single bay. I mean, so very busy.
Very, very busy out there. But like you said, it almost feels like a chain.
Correct.
It's Lake Minnetonka, but it feels like a chain of lakes.
Correct.
So is there some of those little spots and some of those little lakes, and I'm not going to ask you to name them, but are some of those better than others?
Yeah, it seems like every single year some of those bays seem to hold quality fish. Time and time again, you always hear a report that someone pulls out a 14, 15, even a mythical 16 out of one of those bays in the winter fishing months. Every bay seems different. There's certain bays that have better rock structure, so there's more walleyes in that bay. There's another bay that has better basin structure, so it's going to hold some more panfish. Better weed systems, and that also holds all types of fish. So every bay is different, and you can fish them differently. Different depths, different water clarity, temperature obviously depending on when, but yeah, it's all unique.
Is that exciting for you, just being able to go to one place and finding basically a different situation and different experience all in the same way?
Yeah, because each bay is kind of a new body of water that you have to kind of debug and fish. I mean, there will be times where I go out and I'll see maybe a mark or two and get skunked. I mean, don't get me wrong. I fish probably 75% of the bays, and there's one bay, I'm not going to name it, that I just can't find fish on for some odd reason. So it's still a puzzle, and I'll eventually get there.
You'll eventually get there. I got to get this up here so if you're watching the video, you know who we're talking to. So with so much water to cover, and you talked about all the shoreline and all the different bays and all the different things, if somebody's going out there and they want to go and fish and try to catch fish, what should they look for? I mean, what should they key in on if they want to get started on Lake Minnetonka?
If you're talking brand new angler, they just want to go out there for the first time.
Yeah, somebody who's never been on Lake Minnetonka and they pull up, not necessarily a novice angler, but just someone pulls up and says, "Where do I start?"
I mean, the at least when I first started fishing and I didn't know much about fishing, you got to go talk to the bait shop owners. They usually get a lot of intel early on, all the time from regulars. And there's 2 or 3 around the area that have good info. That's the first start. Go buy your bait and ask for what's going on, what bays are good, what's the ice conditions like. That's Intel 101. And then after that, once you figure out what bay that you want to check out, I mean, you'll see I'm not even joking. You'll see a concentration of people, and I don't want to say go there, but I'd say try to go to them, but stay outside of their area, because the fish are, if it's mid to late season, they're getting smarter. So try to stay outside of that area, and then drill not just one hole, but maybe a dozen holes, and just start hopping around. And obviously electronics is going to help you, but if you're a first-time angler, try to find someone that might have some gear. But if you're fully set up with gear, obviously then fish those holes. If they don't produce, you got to move, right? Just continue moving. If you have to move closer to the community, go ahead. Otherwise, but early ice, I'd say start in the weeds, and then work a little bit deeper. Try to find some structure like drop-offs or the start of a basin, the edges of a basin. Those are really good spots to check.
And I think one of the things you can do too is if you see that community hole and it seems like people are catching fish, but you don't want to get involved with that, is pull out your phone, pull up the Navionics app, and try to find something that looks like that.
Correct.
But doesn't have the crowd.
Replicate and mirror that structure, right? There's a reason why those fish are hanging out in that spot. Try to find something maybe at a smaller scale and go check it out. I mean, there's many times I'll just go check out a spot. No one's been there, and then holy cow, it's like a Christmas tree. It works, right? I mean, you just have to try it.
Yep.
The part of fishing is you can't always win, but when you succeed, you learn something new, right? At least that's what I like to do when I go fishing.
So that's a lake that's near and dear to your heart. You've told me that there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of pressure, but yet it still produces great fish.
Every single time and every single year I've fished out of it, it still produces. And that's the interesting thing about that lake. It's so big that even if it has been, hammered, it still will continue to produce, because that means it's a healthy system. And, in terms of talking like conservational limits, with technology, it's so much easier to find fish these days, right? 360, live scope, and all that stuff. In the future, I do hope that the limits do come down. That's just, one of the things that hopefully in the future will continue to change.
Yeah, and it's something that I've talked to a lot of our guests about today and yesterday, is that, the DNR has been doing a lot with a lot of the real trophy panfish lakes in the state, dropping that limit down. But, I think as anglers, we kind of have to police ourselves, and not just me policing you or you policing me, but me policing me and going out there and knowing that, okay, it's a 25 fish limit, but, if I go home with 10, that's a good day. And it doesn't mean we have to stop fishing. Let's have a good time. Well, let's put them down the hole and save some for the next day.
Exactly. I completely agree.
So, all right, Minnetonka. I can tell you honestly, I've never been on it before. Is it a clear water lake? Is it a dark water lake? What do we got?
Some bays you can see 15 feet down, and some bays you can see 4 feet down. It really depends on which bay you're in. I mean, God honest truth, it really depends on which bay you're in. For some reason, it's just it all depends on which one.
All right.
I can't explain it better than that.
We're going to make you set up your rods right now to go out there and do some crappie fishing on Minnetonka. What are you tying up? What does it look like?
Right now, one of my go-to main search baits is a jointed pinhead minnow in the smallest size, because it shoots down the water column pretty quick. It can pick out aggressive fish pretty fast. And if that doesn't work, the second one is some type of tungsten. I mean, I'm not really partial right now to any kind of drop kick or any one of the drop kicks from clams really works. And I'll start with a plastic, so no live bait initially, and then drop that down. I mean, we're assuming we're marking fish, right?
Mm-hmm. If we're not, we're moving, right?
Then we're moving, but that's what I start with. And if that doesn't work and they're really, really finicky, I will actually try like a trout fly or even a lead jig. Slower drops, slower presentations. For some reasons, can trigger fish.
Mm-hmm.
And then if those all fail, they'll try with live bait. So that's kind of.
What do you think about that? And I still have like old ice fishing jigs from when I was in my teens.
Yeah.
And they're 30 years old.
Yeah.
These lead vertical presentation jigs, and you show them to guys who've just been ice fishing over the last 5 years, and they're like, "What is that?
Yeah.
What are you doing with that?"
They're
thing?
confused.
Yeah. So do you think that that's cool to go out and use something like that?
I personally, I love it because when you say vertical jig, it looks like kind of like a banana with a hook.
Right.
And then it's got like little tiger stripes or whatever, right? And I swear to God, it works. It works.
Yeah, I think everybody and their brother is sending that horizontal look down, and the tungsten.
Yeah.
The tungsten drops a certain way, and again, I fish with tungsten almost exclusively. But I think sometimes throwing that lead jig down there, it flutters different. It does a different thing.
It does something different that, the fish have probably seen in those community spots or places that have been hit hard. They have seen the same jigs over and over and over again. You throw something that's slower falling and it doesn't mimic what they've seen, they get turned on. Yeah. And that's when fishing is tough, though. I'll bust those out.
You talked about the pinhead a little while ago.
Yeah.
Going with hard baits and panfish again is another thing that's pretty new. I mean, it's not something that people did when I was coming up. What's up with that? What do you like about that?
The pinhead, I don't know what it is about it, but there's a little flapper, and I swear it just activates fish in a way that it must flutter in some natural presentation that they think it's lively, and it just triggers the bite. I don't know what it is either, but for some reason, that's one of my go-to baits. Usually I start with like a gold, then I'll try chartreuse, orange. Those gold is usually the first color I try, and then those other two colors is my kind of go-to. That's
what I wanted to hear next is what's the color on Minnetonka to go catch them?
Gold would be my number one, and then chartreuse and orange. Those are it.
Very cool. Is there something about fishing Lake Minnetonka that you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask you about?
Not really. If you're in the metro and you haven't fished it, it's a great fishery to come check out. I know there's a lot of people, a lot of cars, a lot of bodies moving out there. Some people are out there just to have fun and enjoy the day, which is exactly what we want to see, right? Hopefully they're still respectful, but to go just get outside, right? Mm-hmm. In Minnesota, we got long winters. Right. And our winters are long, so if you're not enjoying it and doing something fun outside, it's going to feel even longer. And get a little cabin fever, right?
Yep.
So, Minnetonka is great. You can get out there and, for the most part, probably catch some fish there.
And one of the things that I love about ice fishing, especially, as you're getting out there early in the season, I take my kids, they bring their ice skates, and they fish for a little while, and then they're going to go ice skating.
Yeah.
And ice skating on a lake is one of the coolest things you can do.
Yeah, it is pretty trippy just to be on like a huge ice skating rink.
Yep.
It's just endless. You have to be careful sometimes, but hitting a bump or something. But otherwise, it is pretty cool to see that.
Getting out there. People want to find out more about you or Knoc Outdoors. How do they do it?
We're kind of on all social platforms, from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's for myself. It's Showtime, and then Knoc Outdoors also is what you can search for in the other platforms as well.
Very cool. Really appreciate you coming on, Andy. It was fun talking to you.
Of course.
We just met today. So
Yeah, literally today.
I'll have to get you a card and we'll be in touch.
Definitely. Yeah. Thanks again.
Good times, man. Really appreciate it. Appreciate everybody watching and listening today. Tomorrow we'll have just one segment, but a lot of cool guests tomorrow as we wrap up our coverage here at the St. Paul Ice Show. If you haven't been out here yet, I really recommend you come down here tomorrow. It's been a lot of fun. Friday was slower, today more busy. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. But if you've been itching to get out and talk some ice fishing and see all the new gear, you want to come right down here to the River Center in St. Paul. Check it out, the St. Paul Ice Show. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.